Good morning and welcome to this special weather update. Today we come to you with some good news. The hurricane warning previously in force for the Coral Coast, Vatulele and nearby smaller islands is now cancelled. Also cancelled is the storm warning that was in place for the Mamanuca group as well as the west of the line from Lautoka to Navua. However, a gale warning remains in force for the Coral Coast, Kandavu, Benga, Vatulele and nearby smaller islands. A strong wind warning and a damaging heavy swell warning remains in force for the rest of Fiji. Severe tropical cyclone Evan's center was located about 140 kilometers south of Nadi, or about 105 kilometers west of Kandavu, or about 160 kilometers southwest of Suva at 2:30 this morning. The cyclone is moving southwest at about 17 kilometers per hour. On this track, the cyclone is expected to be located about 270 kilometers south of Nadi, or about 170 kilometers southwest of Kandavu, or about 265 kilometers southwest of Suva at 2:30 p.m. today, and 270 kilometers southwest of Kandavu, or 370 kilometers southwest of Suva at 2:30 a.m. tomorrow. Yes, tropical cyclone Evan is moving slowly away from Fiji, but the worst isn't over. Well, at least not yet for some of us. A flood warning remains in force for Mainimala, Wainimbuka and Waindina Rewa River, low-lying areas of Nausori and the Rewa Delta. A flood warning also remains in force for all low-lying areas of Navua and the areas adjacent to the whole of the Navua River. According to the Weather Office, active rain bands will continue to affect Viti Levu. This is causing the Rewa River to rise. In the last 2 hours, it had reached 3.3 meters, 0.3 meters below critical level, and water is still rising. The Navua River was at 3.5 meters at 4 this morning, 1 meter above critical level, and it's still rising. The Wainimbuka River was at 15.2 meters, a massive 7.2 meters above critical level, and it also is still rising. And the Waindina River was at 5.5 meters at 4 a.m. and still rising. This makes it 0.5 meters above critical level. The next high tide is at 10:30 a.m. and it is advisable for those in flood-prone areas to move to higher ground. The Navua River burst its banks around 10 last night. This was mainly due to heavy rain inland combined with the surge of water at high tide. It was around 8 last night when the Navua River was threatening to burst its bank. FBC News took these pictures as the river was centimeters away from its banks, with Cyclone Evan bringing heavy rain. It was only 2 years ago when the town was flooded last during Cyclone Thomas. Residents say this time it was different.
Well, I am used to the flood, but this one is different from the other cyclones.
How come? How so?
It's been raining for almost the last time we had a cyclone was just for 2 to 3 hours, but this one going on almost for 1 day, going on night again. It's different from the other cyclones.
Planning to move, but as you can see that all the places here in my house, they are all flooded. So there has been some problems that we face. There's no transport around to take us to the evacuation center. In fact, the evacuation center are somewhat far from the place that we stay. One is right down at the town and the other one is up the hill on the other side on my right.
FBC News also took a drive to Nausori early this morning. Although the true extent of damage will be known today, we didn't find much, just some fallen trees, just some fallen branches and trees. Areas within the Suva-Nausori corridor were without power this morning, but this was expected as FEA's transmission line from Wailoa Hydro Power Station to Suva is damaged. It needs urgent repairs, which will begin this morning and will take about half a day, weather permitting. And FBC News drove down to Singatoka last night to see the extent of damage, if any, caused by Cyclone Evan. There were strong winds felt in Lami through to Pacific Harbour. Trees and branches were common sights on the road along with broken power cables. Ministry of Work staff was seen clearing roads to make them accessible. The villagers along the Coral Coast were lucky not to be affected by the strong winds and did not feel the impact of the predicted tidal waves. Singatoka was, however, a different story. Broken trees, branches and power cables lined the town. According to police, although the Queen's Highway to Nadi was accessible, it was full of debris. Singatoka police also warned of fallen trees along Valley Road. That's the latest for now. Remember, although the hurricane warning has been cancelled, now is not the time to be complacent as there's still a flood warning in place. Rain is also expected to continue throughout today, accompanied by strong winds in some places. Do stay tuned to our 6 radio stations as we continue to bring you the latest updates from around the country. Our next televised news bulletin is at midday today. Until then, good morning.